The divine presence of Spirit is nearer to us than our own breath. Our spiritual journey is guided by the infinite in every moment. No matter that we may forget, Spirit knows, sees, and remembers our perfection. Today we celebrate our oneness in thought, in word, and in action. Good morning, I'm Kim O'Connor, and I am your spiritual guide for the day. This year, our center is reading daily from the Science of Mind textbook. Today's reading is entitled Suggestions for Treatments. And while I was reading this excerpt during the week, preparing for this morning, a couple different things came to me. In the reading, Dr. Holmes states that in giving mental and spiritual treatments, it is better not to dwell too much on the negative since we are liable to give it undue importance. And this reminded me of a statement that we often hear in our philosophy, which is, "It is done unto you as you believe." And thinking of that statement, "It is done unto you as you believe," I was reminded of when I first started taking religious science classes. And I started taking classes at the time I lived in Riverside. And my minister at the time was named Reverend Lee. And of the many classes that she taught, one of them was the Foundations class, which I'm sure many of you have taken. And this was the first class that Tim and I had ever taken in Science of Mind. And this is also the first class where we learned how to do spiritual mind treatment, which is the form of prayer that we use here in religious science. The format of the class was that we went around the room and you briefly talked about what happened during your week. And basically it was to say, each week we had an assignment and there was a topic. And so it was basically really to see if you manifested or you demonstrated or if you had a new understanding in that area. But what would happen every week invariably is one of my classmates would complain about their week. And when they would complain, our Reverend would always say, immediately, she would say, "And so it is." And the first time I heard her say that, I really didn't understand, where she was going with that. But week after week this would happen and someone would complain and she would say, "And so it is." And so finally, as the weeks progressed, because it was a 10-week class, as the weeks progressed, someone, I guess, decided to challenge her on it. So the person said, when it came to their turn, they complained, and she said, "And so it is." And they immediately came up with another complaint, and she said, "And so it is." Complaint, and so it is. Complaint, and so it is. And it went back and forth, and I didn't understand. And in that moment, as I'm watching the back and forth and I'm listening, all of a sudden I understood. I understood that the universe always says yes. And so what I had thought was her being abrupt or dismissive of what we were talking about, really she was giving us a lesson, a very important lesson. And I'm very grateful because I remember it being one of the very first times in this teaching where I really began to understand when Dr. Holmes talks about change your thinking and change your life. I began to see what he meant by that. And what I can tell you is that in taking the classes over the years, it has completely changed my outlook on life by learning and embracing this philosophy. It's really changed everything for me, and it's changed the way I see things, it's changed the way that I interact with people, and it's just changed me, and I'm so grateful for that. And so I'd like to take this moment to invite you to go within. So I invite you now to enter into that inner temple within your own being where the presence of God is clearly seen, heard, and felt. I know that there is one force, one presence, one power, one mind in the universe. I abide in complete and perfect faith that God is the ever-present good, infinite intelligence, omnipresence, purpose, love, joy, you name it, God is it. Every single thing which exists around me exists as an expression of this one divine and splendid spirit. I recognize the presence of good and the presence of God in everything around me. I recognize the face of God in the face of you and the face of me. I know that force created the earth, the stars, and all of life. I know that this beloved good expresses through me, and I know that it expresses through you as well. I affirm right here and right now this fullness of God is simply the return home, the return to who and what we truly are, perfect, whole, and complete in every way, every day, throughout eternity. I speak my word right here and right now that infinite intelligence within each one of us deepens, our understanding grows, our clarity is crystal clear as we read the principles of our philosophy. I claim for each of us not only a deeper understanding, but also a graceful application of it into our daily lives. Let's take a moment to collectively enter into the silence as we contemplate all that God is. And so I just take this moment to express my thanksgiving. I know this service is one of both healing and revealing for every person present. That Dr. Michael, our beloved spiritual leader, is an emissary of God, a perfect conduit of the infinite, self-emptied and spirit-filled. I thank at this time our Practitioner Corps, who are the healing arm of our community, Dean Warren as he holds high watch, Joel Baker and the entire music ministry, our hospitality team, Larry, who ensures the sound is perfect every week for us, Tom, who films our service for us each week so beautifully. And I speak my deep gratitude for every member and each new visitor that is here today. Welcome. Welcome home. I give great high thanks for the manifestation of the all good in each of our lives. And to the law I release my word, knowing that it cannot, will not, and does not return to me multiplied. Rather, it returns tenfold, even more than that. I let this be so, and if you are in agreement with me, please join me in stating, and so it is. And when it feels comfortable, gently open your eyes and recognize your oneness with all that is. Thank you.